Hey, this is Leo for Actualized.org. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what you need to do next now that you've learned about spiritual enlightenment. This video is intended to be watched after you first watched my spiritual enlightenment video, the one that introduces you to spiritual enlightenment, tells you exactly what it is. It's a long video, it's an in-depth video, it's a worldview shattering video. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But if you have seen it, then you've probably been left with a bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. And you're not quite sure what to do now that you learned about this truth, and you're not sure where to go. This has made you confused. It has made your life more complicated. You're not sure which direction to go in because it seems like you're being pulled in two directions. You've got the life that you've been currently living, pretty much your normal existence. You've been living that your whole life, and that's still got momentum and it's pulling you. But then also you've got this new truth that you've learned, and this is now beckoning you to go on a journey and pull yourself in a totally different direction. And in some sense, these can be opposite seeming directions. So I want to clear some of this up and tell you what the game plan is here. Most people, when they hear about the truth of spiritual enlightenment, what happens is that it's a blow to your system. And the emotional reaction that you experience is sadness, depression, this feeling of emptiness, this feeling like life is pointless. And you might have been left thinking something like, oh, damn, so my whole life was this giant lie, and now it's still a lie. I'm still continuing to live this lie. So what do? Do I stop the lie? Do I continue going with it? I don't even know which direction to go in if I wanted to stop this lie. And there's this sense that everything is pointless. There's no purpose anymore to anything. You're not excited about life anymore. And you don't know what to do. What should you do? Well, the first thing to recognize is let's not be rash here. And remember that these emotions that you're experiencing, whatever they are, sadness, anger, emptiness, any of these emotions, that these are emotional reactions of the ego. And this is how the ego protects and defends itself. So when you first hear this truth, you're going to have a very big emotional reaction. But just like with anything in life, you hear it the first time and it might shock you, but then you get desensitized to it over time. So right now, if you just heard this truth today or yesterday or last week, it's still very fresh in your palate. You've still got that aftertaste, and it can seem a bit bitter, a bit sour, a bit depressing. Well, just let that carry itself through. Those are natural emotions. Let them carry themselves through. They're not that painful. They're not that damaging to your life. So don't play into them and pretend like, oh my God, my life is going to hell. I should kill myself now. Everything's horrible. Don't do that. Just let the natural emotions, if they're negative, come up, but then don't play into them and make them exaggerated. Don't blow them over the top. Don't overreact. And don't do anything at this point yet to change your life around, because you're not sure which ways to change your life yet. And the thing is that your ego, the way it defends itself, is that it jumps to assumptions and conclusions about what you should do, which make it seem like your whole life is going to hell, when in fact it's not. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later here. But before we even go there, first of all, from your point of view, if you just heard about spiritual enlightenment from me, then you got to watch out, because you got to consider two things. First of all, consider that I could be lying to you. Secondly, consider that I could be wrong. From your point of view, both of these things can be the case. Now, it's not the case, but it doesn't help you when I tell you that I'm not lying to you or that I'm not wrong, because from your point of view, I could still be lying to you or I could still be wrong. So what does this mean? Well, this leaves you in kind of a unresolved state, if you will. And that's good. That's what you need to get more comfortable with. See, the whole problem is that your whole life up to this point has been designed about getting you stability and certainty and resolution. And spiritual enlightenment is all about the opposite. You have to kind of shake your mind loose of all these certainties that you've had, because it's these certainties that have been creating a lot of problems for you without you being aware of it. So what you need to do is not jump to some opposite conclusion. Don't have faith in me. Don't just believe everything I say. Be a bit skeptical. Be a bit skeptical. So you kind of like follow that middle path there. And at this point in your life, you gotta understand that you're still caught up in the illusion. If what I'm telling you is true, you're still caught up in it. So don't go doing something drastic and crazy with your life and then justify it that, oh, it's because Leo told me about this enlightenment thing that now I need to go do this crazy thing. No, I didn't tell you anything crazy that you have to do. I just shared some information with you, and that gives you perhaps a different perspective on life. But recognize that just having a perspective on life is one thing. Going out there doing something crazy is a different thing. And I did not in any way advocate doing anything crazy with your life. So don't be rash. You're still caught in this illusion. So any actions that you take right now, they're actually coming from a position of being in the illusion. So if you tell yourself that, oh, I'm going to go do something, and that is me breaking the illusion, well, is that really you breaking the illusion, or is that you being a victim of the illusion? You're still caught in it. That means that you still operate on all the same principles that you've operated before. It's not like I share this truth with you and now all of a sudden you're enlightened. See, if you actually became enlightened from me telling you the truth, which it wouldn't be possible, but let's say you did. If you became enlightened after watching that first video, then I would be speaking to you in a very different way, because you would now be in a very different position in life, but you're not there. You're not enlightened. All you have is some information. Now, this information needs to be used to go on a journey. It can be. Or if you don't want to go on a journey, then don't go on the journey. But regardless, you're still in the place where you're at. So you might say, well, Leo, does this mean that all the self-help videos that I've been watching from you, that they're all pointless? Does this mean that I should stop reading books? Does this mean that I should stop going to work? Does this mean that I should divorce my wife and leave my kids behind? Does this mean that I should quit my job? Does this mean that I should go live in a cave somewhere in India? What does all this mean? And you got to understand that you're still in the same place where you were at before you watched the video. Nothing really has changed for you. You just became a little bit more depressed. So that means that if you do go live in a cave in India and you quit your job and all this stuff, you're going to have massive suffering. You understand this? Because you're not enlightened. You go there, you live in a cave, and you will get exactly the experience that you would imagine you would get if you went and dropped your whole life and lived in a cave. You would suffer a lot. So I don't recommend you doing that. Not now. You haven't attained anything yet. So don't be so quick to throw everything away in your life. And be careful about using this now as an excuse to become a slob or a slacker in your life. So just because you understand spiritual enlightenment intellectually doesn't mean that now you get to be a jerk to your family. That's not an excuse to be a jerk to your family. Nor does it mean that now you can tell your boss to go fuck himself. Nor does it mean that now money's not important and you don't have to pay your rent to your landlord. All these things are still part of reality. Those aren't illusions. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to feed your kids, otherwise they're going to go hungry. You still probably want to be nice to your wife, otherwise she's going to be mad at you. So those are still things that you want to uphold and maintain. And if you're eating healthy, maintain eating healthy. This doesn't mean that you should now go because of enlightenment and start eating at McDonald's and start splurging on Snickers bars. Don't do that. Maintain your health. If you've got a gym routine, keep going to your gym routine. Everything just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. We're imprinting you with a new perspective, right? So don't get the perspective confused with the actions, at least right now. The other thing you should know is that I don't know where you are right now in your life, but everyone's in a very different place. Some of you are struggling just to pay the rent. Some of you are jobless. Some of you are homeless watching this video. Some of you are really well off and you've got a great flourishing career. Some of you are in your retirement age. Some of you are owning your own business and you've got a passive income. Some of you are working paycheck to paycheck and maybe you're working 60-hour weeks or wherever at your job. So there's a lot of different positions that you can be in, and there's a lot of different ages that you can be in. You could be 15 years old, you could be 25 years old, 40 years old, 50, 60, 70 years old. So depending on where you are, not just in life, but also in your personal development, in your psychological development. There's different stuff that you'll need to do. So first of all, understand that what we're talking about here with spiritual enlightenment, this is the most advanced stage of personal development work, and the most advanced stage, you might say, of self-actualization work, when you realize that there is no self to self-actualize. Now, this might seem like, oh my God, that means that everything that I've been doing up to this point has been a hoax. But you don't want to look at it like that. You want to look at it as stages. There's a stage, kind of a stair-step ladder up from the very bottom to the very top. And this is a long ladder, and there's a lot of development that has to happen along the way. So just because you're going to be doing some work at the very high level stage doesn't mean that everything below that has been useless. No, everything you've been doing up to this point has been building you up to this stage that you're going to be at now. Now, many of you might not even be at this stage or be ready for this stage. So that's a decision you have to make for yourself, is kind of where you are on this ladder. So just to give you like a basic example, let's say that you have difficulty paying your mortgage right now, and your house might get repossessed in a couple of months if you don't go find yourself a new job. And you've got a family, you got a wife, and you got a couple of kids, and you've got some of these money issues. You don't know how to buy the groceries. So if you're in that situation, spiritual enlightenment is not something you should be worrying about right now. You've got some more basic fundamental issues to take care of. Go ahead, take care of your money issue so that there's not this burning need for money. Fix that. Then maybe you'll be ready for spiritual enlightenment work later. Maybe you might require 5 or 10 years of more of personal development work before you get to the point where you can do this spiritual enlightenment work. Now, it's not to say that anything is preventing you. No matter at what stage you are at life, if you're very young and you're very inexperienced with life, you can still pursue spiritual enlightenment. But remember that the day is long, and there are many days in the year, so it's not like you've only got one option here. It's not like all you have to do is do spiritual enlightenment 24/7. You don't need to do this. In fact, that would backfire on you. So it's about making small shifts in your life to accommodate this work. It's not about totally transforming your life. Not unless you really want to, not unless it really makes sense for you. So get your basics handled. If you've got relationship problems that are very fundamental, that are making you anxious and agitated, get those handled. If you've got health problems, if you're overweight and your doctor's telling you that you're going to have a heart attack next year if you don't fix that, let's go ahead and have you fix that first. Simply because spiritual enlightenment, this is a long process. This might take you a couple of years in the best case scenario. It might take you 5 or 10 years to do. So in the meantime, you got to understand, you still are living your ordinary life. Nothing has really changed. You still need a job. You still need to pay the bills and do all the kind of ordinary stuff that you do. And your internal state hasn't changed. So if you go ahead and run amok of your life right now, you're going to feel that and you're going to suffer for it. It's not like you're not going to suffer. That suffering will be there. It's a self-created suffering. It's an illusion, but the suffering feels very real to you. So it's still going to be there because you haven't escaped the illusion. That's what I mean, that you're still stuck in the illusion. So don't think that now you're out of the illusion. You're not. You're still totally in it. So after you get the basics handled, you might even want more than just the basics. You might want to go back and look at my other videos that are not enlightenment related and fix other parts of your life. Maybe what you want is you want to get a good girlfriend. Or maybe what you want is you want to start your own business. Or you want to quit this nasty job that you've got and find a nicer job that you really are passionate about. Go ahead and do that. That's fine. That's fine. The reason I tell you these things is because I know what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. If right now you've got a crummy life and you commit yourself to this journey of spiritual alignment, what's going to happen is that you're going to get on it and you're going to feel excited for a while that, I'm doing something new. This is kind of cool. And you're going to do this for a few weeks, a few months, let's say. But then what's going to happen is that the life that you left behind, it'll catch up with you. Because the life that you left behind, even if you move right now to India and meditate in a cave in the Himalayas, actually you haven't really left anything behind. Sure, you might have left your job behind and your family behind, but still all the problems that you had, all the suffering you had from those situations, that's still going to all be with you. You can't escape that because it's in your head. Your head goes with you everywhere. The ego goes with you everywhere. This illusion that you're in, it goes with you everywhere. So you can't escape it by moving to another country or living under the ocean or something. You can't escape it. It's in your mind. It comes with you. So that means that you might need to do some basic fundamental personal development work just so that you're comfortable enough to even pursue this truth. To pursue this truth takes a lot of open-mindedness. It takes a certain emotional resiliency to do this. For example, if I go and explain all this to a homeless man on the street who is sitting there, he hasn't eaten for a week, he's dirty, he's tired, he's got some health issues that he hasn't seen a doctor for because he doesn't have any money. Like that person, do you think he's going to be receptive to these truths about spiritual enlightenment? No self and all this stuff? No, he's not going to care. Even if he kind of cares and wants it, he's not actually going to be able to fulfill on that commitment because he's in such a dire position in life. He's so emotionally distressed, his mind can't focus. To do this spiritual enlightenment work, we need your mind to be clear. We need your mind to be able to focus. We need you to be free of threats, like serious threats in life. If your life is in threat right now, let's say you're living in the inner city and there's gangs around you that are going around shooting people, and you're involved with drugs and stuff, like spiritual alignment is not for you. Get yourself out of that situation first. Find yourself a calm place in your life where you can actually sit down and do the work, where your mind can focus, where you don't have too many distractions. Because there's a lot of focused work that needs to be done here, and if you can't do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. And what's going to happen is you're going to suffer even more because you're going to be trying so hard to get enlightened, but you're not going to be in a place where you can get enlightened. Right? So it's kind of like if you were in first grade right now, and then I told you about calculus. There's this cool thing called calculus. You can do all this amazing stuff with calculus, but you're in the first grade. You're not ready for calculus. Go ahead and learn arithmetic, learn your multiplication tables, go ahead into middle school and high school and start learning algebra, and start learning geometry, and start learning trigonometry, and start learning more advanced mathematics, start learning how to graph and plot and how to do functions and all this pretty advanced math. And then when you're in the freshman year in college, then you can start learning calculus. So you have to peg yourself. Where are you? Are you in first grade right now? Are you in fifth grade? Are you in 10th grade? Are you at college level now? If you're at college level, then maybe this journey is for you. So handle the basics first. There's really two extremes here that you could undertake. Two extreme action paths. One is basically to quit everything in your life and go pursue spiritual enlightenment 100%. Some people have done it this way. This is how the Buddha supposedly did it. But I don't recommend this path. This is an extreme path because you will likely quit and then go back into an even worse place than where you started from. So this is not recommended. The other extreme path is that you say, okay, fuck all this. This is all nonsense, all philosophy bullshit. Let me just go back to my normal life. And what you do is you go back to your normal life and you completely forget about everything we talked about here. You forget about spiritual enlightenment. You throw it all away and you just go back to sleep. Right now, you're living a life of sleep. You're asleep. But after you watched this spiritual enlightenment video, what happened is that you were woken up just for a brief second. For a brief second, your eyes opened and you saw a new possibility. Your eyes open. Now what needs to happen is that a lot of work needs to happen to keep your eyes open. Otherwise, you're going to fall back asleep. And if you fall back asleep, you might never wake up again. You might never get this opportunity again. Because when you saw my spiritual enlightenment video, chances are that it was just an accident. You weren't looking for it. Just one day you clicked on a button somewhere, you saw the video, you watched through it all, and then all of a sudden something hit you and you woke up. That might be a once-in-a-lifetime chance. So don't go back to sleep and don't do nothing at all. Instead, what you should do is what I recommend here. And here's my action plan for you. It's called the middle path. The middle path looks like this. One, don't make any really big changes in your life. You don't need to. It's not necessary. External action isn't what produces enlightenment. Living on a deserted island by yourself doesn't produce enlightenment, nor does meditating in a cave or on a mountaintop or in the desert or anywhere else. So that's not necessary. Next, I really encourage you to keep your family together. Keep your obligations to your family. Keep loving your family. Keep having fun with your family. That's all fine. Your career, keep that in place. You need a job. You need to pay the bills. So keep your career in place. Don't go quitting your job. The gym, if you have a gym routine and you also have a nutrition routine, maybe you're on a certain diet, you're trying to eat healthy, maintain that. That's good. That's good habit. That's good practice. You'll need that. Even after you're enlightened, you'll want to eat healthy and go to the gym. So keep doing all that stuff. Don't use this as an excuse to quit. And if you're in school or you're in college, keep going to school, keep going to college, because you need those fundamentals. You need the fundamentals of school and college. That will help you out later in life anyways. You don't want to be enlightened, but then not understand arithmetic or language. So, get those things under your belt. Those are the very fundamental things that you need. Everyone needs those. Also, I recommend that you keep doing self-help. You might wonder, well, Leo, self-help, if there's no self, why the hell should I do self-help? It seems like a hoax. No, it's not as much of a hoax as you think. In the end, when you get to the highest levels, self-help will change for you. Your relationship to self-help will change. But you know what? Right now, I still do self-help. After I came into contact with this truth of spiritual enlightenment, which was probably 2 years ago at this point, it's not like I quit everything. I still kept doing self-help. In fact, I started Actualized.org during this interim period. And I didn't just do it so that I could, pay my bills. I did it because I believed in it and because it's helpful. Because it's helpful to move you from the bottom levels to the upper levels, right? So if you've got money issues, relationship issues, if you're chronically depressed, if you've got panic attacks, if you've got fits of anger, if you're not able to maintain decent relationships with people at work, these are all issues that are so fundamental. You got to fix these things. They'll help you in your quest towards spiritual enlightenment. In fact, if anything, I would say take your time and energy away from some of the material external things that you do and start to focus them on self-help. The more self-help you do, the more you're going to actually get convinced of the benefits of spiritual enlightenment and the fact that it's the right path for you. Because honestly, if I just take someone off the street who doesn't know anything about self-help and I tell them about spiritual enlightenment, they're going to think I'm crazy and they're not going to even understand the benefits of doing this journey. But someone who's been doing self-help for a long time, if you've been doing self-help for 10 years, 20 years, and I tell you about spiritual enlightenment, you're probably going to have some things click in your mind. It's going to be like, oh, now I get it. Now I get all this stuff. Now I get why I struggled here and why my relationships have this problem and why I'm negative sometimes and what lack of consciousness means. And I understand what the spiritual books now mean. And I understand why I was meditating all this time. So all the stuff starts to come into play, kind of click into place for you. And that's good. You want that foundation. So keep doing that. The other thing I really recommend for you as part of this mental path is to start doing daily meditation. I've got a great video called How to Meditate that will teach you how to set up a meditation practice. It's very simple, but as part of your foundation for doing spiritual alignment work, you need to start meditating. That's going to help you. It's not going to be the only solution, but it's going to be a really nice foundation because we need to build your ability to focus. You need to be able to focus. You need to be able to go into your mind objectively and see what's going on in there, which means you have to practice mindfulness. So if you're practicing mindfulness outside of meditation, that's great. Keep doing that. And if you're practicing mindfulness right there in meditation, also, that's very good. So start that habit. Also, what you're going to do is once I start releasing some videos that teach you how to actually start taking the steps and the practical action steps for doing this enlightenment work, is you should dedicate a half an hour a day or an hour a day, however much you can manage, to doing this enlightenment work. It doesn't have to be a lot at first. It can just be 20 minutes. It can just be 30 minutes or 60 minutes. You don't really need more than 60 minutes a day. That's enough. So just to put this into perspective, 60 minutes, all of you have an extra 60 minutes lying around. You do. This just means watch a little less TV. Spend a little less time partying and drinking with your friends. Spend a little less time on the internet, posting stupid comments, or whatever it is that you do that's a waste of time. So some people ask me sometimes, well, Leo, does this mean that now I don't have enough time in my schedule to do enlightenment because I've got a family and all this stuff to do? No, you still got time. Most people have time. There is one thing that you do need to stop, and this is very important right here. What you need to stop is you need to stop the following. Stop chasing success, stop chasing fame, stop chasing money, stop chasing sex, and stop chasing love. And in general, stop chasing bodily pleasures. Stop chasing this stuff. Stop distracting yourself with this stuff. All of these things, success, recognition, fame, money, sex, love, pleasure, these are all distractions of the ego. And they fill up your time and they fill up your schedule with crap really, really quickly. I notice this in myself. It's very easy to make yourself busy when you have all this chasing that you do in your life. You're chasing your tail. So really, the only thing you should be taking away from this video about enlightenment is that, if anything, all you need to do is you need to get rid of a little bit of the distractions in your life. Just get rid of those, and everything will be fine. You'll create the room that you need. You'll find that this is healthy for you even if you don't do enlightenment. Just get rid of the distractions. Just cut back on the TV, internet, some of those addictions that you have, that kind of stuff. Stop chasing for women. Stop chasing for men. Stop looking for love everywhere. It's okay. You don't need those crutches. And I'm not saying that you should never pursue money or you should never go after fame. I'm just saying, hold yourself back a bit. Because what the ego does is it's like, oh, I need it. You're like a little kid who wants a toy in a toy store. And he keeps asking his mom for this toy when he doesn't really need this toy. He's got 100 other toys, but he just wants this toy because it's the new flashy toy. So don't be that. Don't be lured in by distractions of the ego. And basically, and this is what I said in my time management video, if you watch that one, stop doing stupid shit. Stop doing stupid shit in your life, but keep the healthy, good stuff going. And you're going to be right where you need to be. And now, as far as this thing about, being depressed, like, oh, Leo, I'm depressed now. Look, you're going to be depressed for about a week or two. When I first heard about this truth, I was depressed for about a week. But then you know what happens? You come back. Life becomes exciting again. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. In fact, what the biggest danger is not that you're going to stay depressed. You're not going to stay depressed. What's going to happen is that your ego is going to kick back in overdrive. And about a week or two after, what's going to happen is something like this. You're going to be sitting there kind of depressed, and you're going to be like, oh man, my life has been a lie. All this kind of nonsense. And then something's going to click in you, and your ego is going to fight back. And it's going to say, you know what? Fuck that Leo. Fuck that Leo and his enlightenment bullshit. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to live a happy life for myself. Fuck all this nonsense. I'm going to go out there and do everything I plan to do. In fact, I'm going to do even bigger than I plan to do. I'll show him. I'm going to go make all this money. I'm going to get all the girls. I'm going to get myself a beautiful house and a beautiful marriage. And I'm going to have beautiful kids. And then I'm going to be so happy. And I'm going to show him. 10 years later, I'm going to show him how happy I am and all his fucking nonsense. We'll see whose life is better, mine or his, 10 years from now. So your ego is going to kick in like that. And what's going to happen is you're going to have this overreaction. What's going to happen is you're going to turn your back on enlightenment, and you're going to go chasing your tail. You're going to be more motivated than ever. You're going to be chasing your tail because it's going to feel very good. Why is it going to feel very good? You're going to feel very significant because right now you feel very empty. Now you're going to feel very significant. And that difference is going to feel like a hit of stimulation. It's going to be a drug for you because you're addicted to stimulation. So you need that fulfillment. You need that sense of significance. It's a drug for you. You're hooked on it. So, go ahead and do that if you want. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to waste a couple of years of your life chasing your tail, and you're going to maybe get that wife or that husband or that money or that sexy girlfriend or that beautiful house or whatever. And you're going to find that it doesn't make you as happy as you thought it was going to make you. And after a while of that and doing personal development work, what you're going to discover is like, shit, it's not working. Shit, it's really not. Why is it not working? I can't understand why it's not working. And maybe you're going to waste 5 or 10 years of your life doing this. And then maybe you'll scratch your head and you'll say, Wait, I remember that thing about enlightenment, huh? Why don't I come back to that? Why don't I go take a look at that? Now I've kind of exhausted my thirst for all these titillations of the material world. Why don't I go take another look at enlightenment? And maybe you'll come back. But see, that's dangerous because you're not guaranteed that you're going to come back. Most people that have this overreaction, what they do is they forget about enlightenment completely, and so they go back to sleep and they never recover. They never come back. So just be careful about that. Smile. You think right now that this is depressing, that this truth of no self, that there is no self, that this is depressing. This is not depressing. This is beautiful. This is awesome. Your ego thinks it's depressing because it means bad news for the ego, but it means good news for the true self, that is you, that you've never been in contact before. You're going to discover your true self. Take in the full ramifications of what you were told in that original enlightenment video. What did I tell you? I basically promised you eternal happiness, eternal peace of mind, and immortality. That's what you were promised. And now you're depressed? You're depressed by this? No. What's depressing is the life that you live now, your egoic, selfish life. That's what's depressing. Have you even thought through the ramifications of how you're living your life? You do understand you're going to die, right? Under your models of reality, you're going to die. You understand this? And that's not going to take that long. You've got another 20, 30, 40, 50 years at most. And then you're going to be dead. You understand this? You're going to die a miserable and painful death. You understand this? That's depressing. That's sad. What I'm telling you is not sad. What I'm telling you is that you can be eternally happy in your life. You can be living in heaven, in paradise, right here, right now. You don't need any mystical nonsense to do it. All you need to do is undertake this investigation into enlightenment. And you will become immortal. You understand this? There is no self. That means that no self cannot die. If there's no self, who's going to die? No one's going to die. So that's a pretty cool thing. What you've discovered here by watching these videos inadvertently is you've discovered the Holy Grail, literally the Holy Grail. You've discovered it. Except what you've actually discovered is not the Grail itself, but a map to the Grail. I've given you a map to the Grail. Now the question is, are you going to go and discover the Grail? Or are you going to get butthurt and depressed and say, oh man, that Grail's on top of a mountain. I have to go climb a mountain to find the Grail? Fuck that. That's depressing. The Grail is here. It's in your sight. Be happy about that. Life is beautiful. Life is amazing. Life is passionate. Life is peaceful. Life is happy. All this stuff is true, and it's there for you to discover. Right now, you don't really understand any of that. Your current life is none of those things. If you think that your life is beautiful and peaceful and happy right now, you're lying to yourself. It's not. Stop lying to yourself. Your life can become that if you do the work that I'm telling you to do. All right, this is Leo. I'm signing off. Go ahead and post me your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think. Click the like button. Share this video with a friend on Facebook. This enlightenment stuff needs to be shared more. We need more people on board with this. Not because it makes us feel good, but because this is what makes the world a more peaceful and better place. And finally, come and sign up to my newsletter right here. It's a free newsletter at Actualized.org. Sign up. I release new videos for free every single week. Videos on enlightenment topics. I can go really, really deep on this stuff with you guys. But also, I'm still going to be doing more traditional personal development videos. So don't fret. If you've got basic issues in your life that you're having difficulty with, like relationships, getting girls, finding other forms of happiness, learning how to meditate, stuff that doesn't necessarily have to be associated with enlightenment, I'm still going to release a lot of videos on that. So sign up, stay tuned, and I'll see you soon.